Hi, everyone. Yep. Welcome to the Afro Women in Animation Fest. I'm really excited to be, part of this panel. It's something I've really looked forward to for a while, and so it's. I feel excited, just being here. I'm a filmmaker, stop motion animator. I've done it for roughly about 12 years, stop motion specifically. I've also done other things, but stop motion has been the thing, for the last couple of years. So that's essentially, what I've done, and I've done a couple of projects in stop motion animation, which has, sort of continued to improve over the years. I've gotten quite a bit of support for my work and stuff like that. But yes, I'm excited to be here. And so without wasting any time, I would like to first of all, introduce my the panelists that we're looking forward to speaking with. I would want to first of all go through what their profile looks like, and then they will tell us a little bit about it, And so, yes, we have Munia, who I've known for a while, probably like maybe about 4 years now, and I've followed her work, and she's been an inspiration to not just myself but a whole lot of folks, in the industry in Africa, and around the world. And so I'll just go through her profile. I have it on my laptop here, and so Munia Aram is a seasoned animation industry professional and the founder of Munia Aram Company, dedicated to fostering diverse stories and cultural collaboration since 2003. She has built a career as a global speaker and industry expert, championing inclusion and representation across media. With a background in international business and over 20 years experience in the audiovisual sector, she specializes in bridging markets, mentoring creators, and driving across regional collaborations. So she's been around for a while, and so you can imagine what it would be like when we get to the topic. I also want to talk about Rose Ann Cicerand. I've been also very eager since I have gone through a lot of stuff regarding her profile and have checked that out. I hope you guys have also done that, because that's how we truly benefit from panels like this and events like this. Because for me, this type of events have literally changed my life, And so Rose Ann Tisserand is the co-founder of Flying Kraken Creative Studios, a boutique Canadian-based animation studio known for creating original content and offering award-winning animation design services. With 25 years, I'm always about the years, that kind of thing of experience in film and television production. Roseanne has held key roles as a production executive, including serving as a supervising producer at Badel Entertainment and consulting creative producer at the National Film Board. One of the things about the years is that when somebody has years backing what they do, it shows that they know what they're talking about. It shows that, it's not just words, it's a lot of action, it's a lot of experience. And so I would like, well, starting from Rose now, to tell us, what has inspired, when you got into animation, when you got into the film media space, what inspired it? What has been the fuel that has lit, that which has kept you going all of these years?
I think honestly, it's
It's
collaboration.
collaboration. Okay.
It's the people you meet, the travel,
The travel,
the authentic
the
stories.
authentic stories.
It just keeps you
It just
going, and then
keeps
there's
you
another
going, and then there's
project you
another
fall in love
project you
with,
fall in love with,
and then there are
and
people
then
you
there are
fall in love
people
with,
you
and you
fall in
keep
love with, and you
working.
keep working. Um,
So yeah, it's
so
all of
yeah,
those
it's
things.
all of those things. Munia.
Yes. Yeah. What I love about our industry is also the people, as Roseanne was saying. The people we meet, we learn so much from them. And we've been in this industry for many years, but I never stop learning. And I love that about this industry. The industry is moving, and it's important to stay connected. And networking is the key, in my opinion. And I believe that we learn from each other.
All right, cool. And so I fully recognize the fact that one of the things that you've established in what you've said, it's that it's the process has kept you going. In other words, it's been each network being part of projects and all of that has kept your work going in the industry. So it's not just like one light at the beginning, but then as the process goes by. Now I'd like to talk from my own personal experience. I'm a woman. I work in animation. I'm an entrepreneur, which means I run a studio, and obviously I always need funding to run the studio, funding for projects, and so in process of navigating these things, I have been doing this for a while. I obviously have lots of struggles, and many of these struggles come as the result of being a woman. Now, noting that the topic is funding and entrepreneurship in animation, a woman's perspective, which is pretty unique, so I have that, having to do with the fact that I have responsibilities, extra responsibilities, being a woman, and then of course my natural not so being assertive, and many times I also, because of what I do, I do it because first and foremost I enjoy what I do, not first because of the money, so there's all of that, all playing around, so I want to ask, what first and foremost should be my mindset as a woman, if I want to excel. I want to be able to navigate effectively the animation industry, not just in Africa, but globally. So I throw it to you, Roseanne. Sorry.
You know, sorry, there's an echo. It's hard to speak. About 10 years ago in North America, we started to really watch or count how many women were in these responsible roles, art director, and how much funding they were getting from resources that were available, and it was not great. So those numbers, what we really needed to do was count. And once we counted, we went, oh my goodness, we were right all along. We need to change that. There became a really big movement in North America to change those numbers, which is where ACE started. We did a count in Vancouver, Canada. And it was not great at all. It was terrible. We have about 60% of our schools for animation are 60% women. But when we did the numbers for those roles of writer, producer, director, art director, editor, they were so low. We were like, we've got something we have to change. So we formed a program to specifically do that. Take 9 roles and go, we're going to give them the experience and the credit that no one can dispute. They learn best practices, all of those things. And that makes them more hireable or able to ask for funding. They also, the Canadian government also tracks how much money we give to underrepresented groups. 10 years ago, again, it was terrible. It's getting better for women. It's still on the radar. But we're working on underrepresented groups. So as a woman, and what I did is went to funders and went, we have to change these things, and really be specific about the goals we were after, and what they needed to hear from us, because they report to you. So what do you want? What do you? How do we make authentic stories? We've been very successful. We've had 4 writers who are now writing. We have 3. This is our fourth animation company that's incorporated by a woman. We have had our directors go on to direct. So it's the beginning process with more women. We know women hire women, and we know there's another, double the amount of women that have gone through the program who make a short film, and they hire more women.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's enough.
Yes, it's women supporting women. So when women are enabled, then they give the opportunity for other women. Munia, you know how African women, we struggle. It's like when you add the African to the women, there's a special dynamic it brings to it, because of our natural traditions, the expectations, the fact that when you're pushing as a woman, it's kind of like abnormal, somehow, and all of that. And even when you beat that, then you have a society that just feels that, you understand what exactly are you trying to do, that kind of stuff and all of that. So it's a real struggle. And I know that there would be ladies out there, even including myself, because I know that the kind of struggles that I've had to go through, trying to explore possibilities, and having to every time reinvent myself to ensure that I can remain sustained in the industry. So I want to ask, now, considering what Roseanne has said regarding the global industry, and that these issues, are not just synonymous with a section, but everywhere, but that we also know that ours is really significant. How does us, the African woman, the Afro woman, explore the world of possibilities, in managing, themselves as a professional? How do they get ahead? How can they move from point A to point B, if it's defined at all? How can they move from the point they are right now and move ahead at this point?
I think, in my opinion, the problem that we have is that we believe that success depends on investors.
Sorry?
But that's not always. Success doesn't depend on investors.
Okay, all right.
It's, I'm based in France, so we have access to funding. But personally, I didn't.
Okay.
Because I had a small capital for my company. So
okay.
I tried to get some funding. I went to the bank, investors. I wasn't successful. What I did is, I was thinking about that. I said, okay, you don't want to lose control of your company. You don't want to have the pressure to sell quickly. So what I did is I avoid. I don't overspend money. I don't spend too much money.
Okay.
Find a balance. I don't get the funding, but I don't spend too much. Especially in the beginning. We want to be out there. We want to do great things. But when you don't have the funding, you have to be cautious. Don't overspend. And find a side job. That's our truth in Africa.
Okay.
It's the truth. I mean, you have to find a side job, but that can be a side job that to our industry. Like what I did, what I'm doing is consulting, training, speaking at events. So that's the way to get some money and get some funding in to my company. But the rule is, don't overspend money in the beginning, especially if you want to grow. You have to take it slow, step by step, and then get access to some funding for sure. But in the beginning, start small. Don't be ambitious, but be reasonable. That's what I would say.
And be nimble, be able to adjust.
Okay. I okay. We should be reasonable, but I'm also trying to really press into the fact that, there's a limit to being reasonable, when you don't even have the funds, and so it's essentially there needs to be real practical opportunities that people can access, and say, okay, I remember like some 5 years ago, I think, I was really like, okay, I want to be able to focus on, this stuff, and I really had to grapple with the idea of doing stop motion for business, or actually being able to upgrade stop motion by doing it for films. And it was a real struggle for me, and so I had to, first of all, draft out, just craft out something, to say, okay, this is my plan, like, okay, this is how I intend to get funding, because if I will not get funding from maybe doing projects like I used to for over 15 years, I had done projects, for different companies, and I felt that, I was done with that. I needed to do the projects that one of the reasons why I really learned this stuff is to make projects that have impacts, and I had not done that. I had done, and all of that. But then I needed where more funding will come from. So obviously I had to have a plan. I had to look at what was existing in terms of open calls, all of that, and begin to apply, that kind of thing. And also I want to still pressing on that, because you can't manage what you don't have. You can only manage what you have. I completely love the fact that we need to manage, we need to slow, but then, how do we get now in today's now, how do we have access to phone? Munia, please, can you still pressing on that?
You know, one of the way to make some money is, what I do myself. I'm a distributor, so I find some small gigs, being a sales agent, bring some money into my company, and little by little, this money I will reinvest, So that's why, I say to people, I'm not planning to get rich in the first years, because the money I will get, I will reinvest in my company, I reinvest in my projects. And we were talking about, in the beginning with Roseanne, about the networking, the people that we know, because when you spend a lot of time, and you do, Esther, as well, you travel the world, you go to markets, you go to events, you meet people, and those people might be interested in your project. Look for collaboration, co-production. When you do co-production, you split the cost, you split the money that you're going to spend. So what I would say is that maybe don't look for money, but look for a strategy first. You have to have a strategy, have a business plan. And before launching my company officially in 2020, in 2019, I spent the entire year working on my business plan. 1 year, putting together a strategy, looking for different ways of, different avenues of income. Because if it doesn't work in the production, where can I get some money? Distribution, maybe consulting, maybe training, maybe. So, and network, meet people. Whenever you have the opportunity to be in an event, don't be shy. Talk to people. We are in a very nice and friendly industry. People are so kind. So whenever you bump into someone, you can say hi and start a conversation, and you never know. You never know, because I've met some people, nothing happened for 2 years, and then suddenly they come back, oh, I was thinking about you, and I have this project, maybe we can collaborate. And this is how it works, because you cannot do things alone. We need to collaborate and find partners. Maybe they will have more money than you, maybe they have money that you don't have at the moment, and you can put all the budget together and split the cost and do that together in a very smart way. But first of all, have a strategy.
Yeah, I would agree. And I know our funding is, I'm sure, quite different than your funding. In Canada, we have programs that we can apply to. But when I was working with the National Film Board and the director was there, she wanted to do stop motion, and she watched as many short films as she could, and she wrote down every single funder of every credit and followed up. Now that is someone who's determined. You find different ways, educational resources. There's a way to tie in what you're doing with an educational component, and they can go, wow, we'd love to get on board with this. There are different ways, but that is literally what she did. And I will always be so in awe of someone who's that determined. And it isn't easy. It's not easy. None of it's easy. And right now there's such a downturn that I'm sure most people know there is a downturn that's happened in all of animation. It's incredible. Our numbers in Canada are down in a massive way. And the correction, everybody kept saying stay alive till 2025. And it seems that it's going to go further than 2025. There's no doubt about it. Oh, I think you're on mute, Esther.
All right. Okay. All right. So it's really exciting to hear. It's that's a key strategy. Check out the funders, in the films that you watch. It's always, funny enough, most of the strategies are really bare in films, for us to be able to pick up, how to be able to replicate what you see in a film, that kind of thing, at least to an extent, even if regionally you may not be able to have access to that fund. There's always the possibility of partnering with someone that has access to the funds, so yeah, there are always possibilities. It's just being able to look outside of the box, sort of always. I think strategy is key. I think what Munia said, I don't think we should forget strategy. She used 1 year to plan business plan. So it's essentially the planning. The planning is key, particularly for women, because of the fact that we're not as active, in some sense, but then, when you have a good plan, it's easy to be able to try to execute. And if you have certain issues, there can always be a plan plan B, or plan C, and so I want to quickly address the issue of entrepreneurship, and because Moni has brought up the fact that businesses should plan, so now for young ladies, about to start their own businesses, what are key points? What are things that they should have in mind? Already, we have some already stated, and I think that is also very important that people take note of this. That you really have to be very not overspending. Like Roseanne said, the industry is at the downturn, and I will address that in the next question about the downturn of the industry, because it's not an all bad thing. But then, how can someone who is just starting out, what are the key points? What are the things that should be at the young lady's mind, or old lady, whatever, mind, to start, and to start for the long run? Rose and yeah.
I think having make something. Sometimes you just get friends and make something, so you can prove yourself. When you prove yourself, it goes a long way to funders. And I know through the program, because the 9 women get together and make a short film, their lives change when they go to a market or they meet someone and say, look at this film I made. I was the producer, the whatever. There is something to that. And out of that, there have also been out of the group, there are people who've gone on and made their own short film for, friends. Let's just get together and make that film, make something. And I know AI is not, everybody's got a lot of fear. It's not going to go away, but use it as a tool. Be ethical, of course, but use it as a tool. And certainly what we're hearing in North America is, if you want to go into the commercial, there's the auteur route, which is the very artistic, I'm making my short film, whatever I want to do route. And then there's the commercial route. I want to pitch to Netflix, or I want to pitch to whoever. And for that, it seems like there are micro shorts, getting your stuff on TikTok, getting your stuff on YouTube, get something made in some way. I mean, my company has also, it's something that we've always wanted to do, but we've shifted to graphic novels. We've talked to publishers. It's something they're interested in. We make a graphic novel, they may be interested, and then it can go into their stream of, they're all now making TV content. Scholastic, all of these companies are making content. So there's graphic novels. There are other ways, that if you make a character that you can use as a side hustle and sell t-shirts, just think about different ways, again, that people will relate and you'll be authentic to what you're doing.
Okay, all right. So now making something is just, is something that has significantly helped me, because right from the very beginning, for me to work in the industry, it just was all about making, not as though I felt I was really good at it, but then it was just knowing that I had a couple of stories I wanted to tell, and I grappled with it. I started stop motion not knowing what it was, and then just sort of grappling and trying, and then getting the films to the festivals and stuff like that. So yeah, it's crucial. I think it's a major take home. You can't just be talking about what you're doing. You need to make something. So Monia, now when we make something, because it's one thing to make, it's another thing to have a strategy to what you make. Where what strategy, because I one of the things I observed is, in the beginning when I made films, it's I just tried to figure out what exactly I wanted to do with it and stuff like that, but now when I am very conscious of what exactly I do right now and what exactly my approach would be, how do I maximize the effect, the impact, of this film, how do I, return on investment and all that stuff, so I wanted to ask, what would be distribution strategy? Because obviously distribution is where, we're able to get at least a little bit of return on the productions that we make, whether it's short films or whatever else, that we're able to produce, like that. Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I would say that as an entrepreneur, before starting, I mean, first, as a woman, you don't have to be 100% ready to start. Second, you have to have a vision, a clear vision of where you want to go, what you want to talk about. And then I would say market study. I mean, you have everything for free on the internet. You can know what is currently broadcasted on Netflix, on Disney, and all the platforms, and do your homework, do a lot of research, so you will understand what are the trends, what is working, what is not working, what kind of formats, is it a series that you want to make, a movie, a short movie, and where it should go. So you have to, I mean, as an independent and an entrepreneur, you have to work a lot. So you have to be ready to work hard and to work like a lot, tons of hours. So I wouldn't give a distribution strategy. I would say, look at what's going on in the market. We were talking about the fact that it's pretty hectic at the moment, but you can have access to all the informations online and check the trends, check what's going on, what is working at the moment. Is it 2D, 3D? If it's 3D, on which platform? What is the format, the duration? So then you can shape your content. Maybe your story can be authentic, but your format need to be you know, you need to fit a certain requirement from the broadcasters. So before even thinking of, oh, I want to pitch to Netflix, yeah, but what is Netflix looking for? So people are just focusing on, I want to be on Netflix, yeah, but do you know what they are looking for at the moment? Is it the right platform for you? And in terms of distribution, I would say that don't only think about broadcasting. You know, Roseanne was talking about publishing. I had a long career in the Japanese animation industry. So what we had a 360 strategies. You know, it can, the stories can start with the manga, or it start with the anime, but also we have the merchandising. Those are multiple avenues of making money from one story, one brand. I mean, they are talking about brand and not animation, or not a story. It's a brand that you're putting together, and think about what ways you can make money out of it. But again, if you want to know how your distribution process and strategy can work, do a market research. And that's part of the homework when you work on your business plan. And we keep learning, and we keep staying up to date, because we need to have the informations, because the market is evolving, and things are trendy now. They won't be trendy in 2 years, in 3 years, or even in the next couple of months. And especially now with social media, and also be present on social media like LinkedIn, because the people are really generous with the informations on LinkedIn. So they share some key informations for us, to stay up to date, and to, even if you're not able to go like to an event. I couldn't go this year to Kidscreen, for example, in San Diego. I didn't have the funding to go, to be honest. It's too expensive. So I get the informations for what was going on in San Diego. So people were sharing informations on LinkedIn. So it's good. It's really useful. And then think about using also those social media to market yourself, market your company. You can start with your message. What is your vision? What is your message? And then whenever you're ready to share some material, yeah, you share on on LinkedIn or TikTok, and on TikTok, on Instagram, and all social media. But marketing is also really important. Marketing and communication.
Just add, find a mentor too. Like if you could find a mentor, you will be amazed at how generous people are with their time. I have never had, there's not one person who said no when I've asked them to mentor through the program. So look, again, use LinkedIn and find a mentor.
Okay, all right. So now I had the opportunity to be at a couple of markets, within the last couple of years, and so I have been able to experience, what it means for the industry to have, had a downturn, and the fact that you're no longer having commissionings the way you probably had maybe like 4 years ago and stuff like that, and it's, I think, being able to experience that for firsthand, sort of put in my mind that, look, you need to have a plan for this. I decided that, just focus on mastering your craft. It's been my focus for the past like 2 years to just master, try to create the best stop motion films I can, and everything I need to learn. Last year I did a course, on just puppetry, just for about 9 months, in Poland, just learning how to make good puppets, that kind of thing. This year I'm in Rennes, just trying to keep learning, so that we can tell African stories, authentic African stories in stop motion, but at good quality, not like we're trying to grapple, that kind of thing. And so I recognize the fact that despite the fact that it's a downtime, it's also a time that one can use to catch up, and so I realized that, you may have, some other pointers, things that we can be looking at, you know, um, yep, things that we can at this time, that we can take advantage of. It's just like when COVID came around, and then we had, we had to find ways of still making progress during COVID. And so, how do we make progress even if we are not getting commissioned? Even if we're not getting the funding for our projects, and our projects are probably just hanging, obviously we shouldn't just like deep freeze. There should be a few other things that we could do, that would have not just regional relevance, but global relevance. So I would be grateful if you can recommend, a couple of things that we could do, at this time.
Network. Again, we keep bringing that up. Okay. Network as much as you can. Learn trends, as Munya mentioned. Do research online. It's learn how to do things. Like, again, through the program, the things that I've noticed from women hold themselves back a whole lot. And I've done tests where I've talked to men, and I'm like, we hear that men will apply for a job or take something on if they're 30 to 40%, if they have 30 to 40% of the skills. And the guys go, yeah, you bet. And women are like, oh gosh, no, I got to know everything. And the first thing we do with this program is say, you have to be vulnerable. You have to take risks. And the only way to gain confidence is by going through it. You have to just go through it. Learn how to pitch. This is a business. There are a million good ideas. This is a business. And part of it is the relationship you have with the people you pitch. It isn't just, here's my pitch. You love it. You want it. It's more of get to know someone. Don't, if you have time, don't ask for things right away. Have coffee, have a conversation over Zoom, get to know each other. Those are things you can do now. Develop ideas, test them and say, hey, I have this idea. Can I pitch it to you? What's working? What do you like? What don't you like? Is it sounding like it makes sense? Try and figure out, again, as Munya mentioned, if you want to upset a broadcaster and you pitch a show they don't want, that's never going to go over well. So always do your research. It is beyond important. They need you. First of all, remember, they all need you because they'd be doing it themselves. They need you. They want the connections. Reach out. But take your time, build relationships, network, develop, learn what that means, and make sure it makes sense, because there are so many good ideas out there. It's not just about a good idea. It's about so much more.
Yes,
Hello. Yeah. Munya, you want to say something about networking?
Yes.
Yes.
So what should I add? I mean, networking, building relationships. I mean, we've been doing that, and it's part of the job. It's part of the job, and that's what I love. I love talking to people, building new relationships, but there are also some programs for women in Africa. I mean, Roseanne mentioned finding a mentor. I've been part of the Durban Film Art. The event that is happening in July in Durban, and they have a mentorship program. So people can apply with their animation projects, and they will benefit from mentorship. So look online, look at the events, and if you are based in Africa, look at what's going on in Africa. What are the festivals, the events? And like here at Afro Women in Animation, you have panels, and you can get a lot of informations and connect with the people. I mean, some people, after I speak on panels, they connect with me on LinkedIn, and I will accept them. And yeah, this is how you start building your network. You start building your network by connecting with them. And now things are easier than before, because we have those social media that are really easy to create connections and build relationship. And get the info, get the informations, because they are, accessible, and the market is always evolving. It will always evolve, but if you don't stay up to date, you will miss some informations. And if you build some relationships from time to time, I mean, even if you're based in Nigeria and the person is based in in Canada or in France, you can, send an email and say, okay, let's have a virtual coffee together. I mean, I found some people who asked me for virtual coffee. I said, yes, why not? So, and we did that during COVID. We did that. We had some virtual meetings, and now we can do that and connect with them. And people are, as I said earlier, usually nice. So they will say yes, and you can, I want to pitch to you my projects if you have time, and if I have time, I will say yes, or I will find some time later. I said, okay, maybe next month I will have some time, or I will recommend somebody else. So this is how it works, because we are here to support each other. And yeah, there is a competition for sure, but it's not a bad competition. It's not a bad competition. And Roseanne was mentioning the fact that women are waiting to be 100% ready to start. You know, what happened to me when I wanted to start my business, there was I had before another company where I had business partners, and my ex-business partner was so upset that I was leaving, that he said that I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not even a good salesperson. And I said, okay, whatever. That's your opinion. Watch me. So yeah, you will receive some comments, good or bad. Yeah, take them or not. But move forward. And as I always say, life is short, so you will make mistakes, you will fail, you will have obstacles, but that's not the end of the world. That's not the end. You will learn from that. I mean, sometimes if you like me, super sensitive, you will cry, because sometimes it hurts a lot, and you're tired, and you have a family, and you have a lot going on, and you're like, oh my God, I can't, and then you cry. And then you come back and you start again, and you look at what happened, and you say, okay, this happened, what can I do with that? What can I learn from this situation, from this obstacle, from what happened to me? But you have to take everything. No, not everything's going to be perfect, not everything is going to be nice and smooth, but use these bump roads to learn and to grow. That's what I would say.
You've addressed some of the critical vulnerabilities that women do have, because that was what was on my mind before you started to address it. Rose had talked about the fact that women always want to be 100%. I am saying, I always want to be like, I need to get it spot on, that kind of thing. I work really hard and just wait. There have been few times that I have looked at it and like, even if I didn't qualify, I can state my case, that kind of thing and all of that. But then it always requires me talking a whole lot to myself in trying to figure out, how, in what way would they consider me, if I'm thinking I'm not qualified or anything like that. So yes, that is one situation. Then there's, of course, the fact that you said network. When you tell somebody like me network, it's a very complicated thing. Why? You would say, why? I'm shy, and I know that there are probably a lot of women like me. I'm shy. I have I don't know if you know what it means to your social energy quickly gets sapped out. So if I'm at a market, and I've met like 4 people or 5 people in a day, I'm done. Like I don't know how to, like, keep it going, and keep it going, but then what has worked for me, and I need to state that, is that I have developed long lasting relationships with the few individuals I know, and they have made a significant difference in my life, and my career. So I don't go out looking and meet people, meet. When I try to do that, I get frustrated significantly. It's like I've been emptied out. But when I'm just fine, at an event, meeting one person or two, and then just connecting, especially people that you would know to a certain level, that I connect with this person. We have similar values, we agree to certain things, we kind of like a few things together and stuff like that. So yes, that essentially, works for me. So some of these I struggle, and I don't know if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing to not become a professional networker, but it's I know that there are ways at which women, can deal with these issues. So which drives me to this question, because this is another issue: family. Now now the issue of family, it's okay. Let me give myself as a typical example. It always helps. I'm currently not in Nigeria. I have two kids. I'm married. I have two kids, and I know. I get to talk to them every day, and sometimes I get warnings like, "Mommy, you cannot do this. You cannot go this long." That kind of thing and all. Mom, promise you won't go. Stuff like that. And it's sometimes really like, um, I feel it every day. So it's something I always have to grapple with. I can imagine Munia, you know because we've met at some place and she talked about her son and all of that. That guy was coming from school or something like that. And also it's, you having to follow, because when children are not feeling well and stuff like that. Rose Ann, I would also like you to touch like on that. Because it's many of the women, whether single, or married or with kids or not, or whatever, would have certain responsibilities. And for women, we are very sensitive about our responsibilities. We're very sensitive about them, and so sometimes family and work clash, and beyond even what society expects, it's always important that, we try to find some balance. I would like you to throw light, on how you approach this balance.
I can tell you with the program. When I was with Bardell Entertainment, which is a major studio in Vancouver, there was a director who came to me who was pregnant and was sure she would be hired. And I said, well, of course we can hire you. We'll work around it. And I have made it a part of the ACE program since then, that we have moms, young moms. Our animation director just had a baby for this program. And we have talks about it, and we have groups where we talk about how to manage it. Is it easy? No. And it is challenging to be a woman and manage those expectations, but to be true to yourself and what you can manage. And if you want that career, I mean, I don't think there is a right answer. I think it's self-care. I think it's trying to, it's great for kids to see moms who want to be these things. And they may not like it now, but when they'll be proud as heck when you get there. But at the same time, if it's just not working, it is taking a step back and seeing what that looks like. But we're trying to change it, I know, with the program. And it's like, because we feel women, and especially women with children, are underrepresented. So we want to make sure that the animation world goes, oh, look at the women and the moms who've gone through this program. So that's kind of what we do on this in ACE.
Yeah. So speaking of experience, I mean, what I was shocked when once a woman asked me, how do you do with your kids? Who's taking care of them? I'm like, first, it's none of your business. And second, you never ask this question to a man, who is a dad, who has responsibilities. So why can't we be an independent entrepreneur and be a mother as well? So yeah, I have two kids, and they are, they even now they are grown-ups, and they tell me that I'm an inspiration for them, because I went for my dream. I'm working hard, and they know that it's challenging. They know that it's not easy, but I wanted first to do that for them as well, to be, to show them that you can do whatever you want to do in life. You just have to work. And You can be, a woman entrepreneur. You can be a mother or not a mother. You can be a single. You can be married. You do whatever you want. It's your life. So if people judge me because I'm not spending much time with my kids, because last year I traveled in 10 countries, I was traveling all over the world. But my kids, they're following me on Snapchat. They see me on the map. They're like, oh, she's here. She's in Brazil. She's in Nigeria. She's in South Africa. And that's funny. I mean, we bound with that. But it's true that it's challenging at the same time. When once my son was sick, and I was in Canada, I was in Montreal, and I woke up because I was still a bit jet lagged. And I woke up and I received this message from my son, my stomach hurts. And I'm like, oh my God, what can I do? I mean, I cannot take another flight back to save him. No, I said, okay, talk to your dad. Okay. And, that's what I keep saying, if you have the right partner, we are a team, me and my husband, we are a team. And if I'm traveling, and he know that from me, I mean, since he met me, I've been traveling, and it was the deal. I'm going to travel. So if we want to have kids, you're going to take care of the kids when I'm not home. And that's what he's doing. So if it's not me, it's the dad. So they are not alone. And if they are alone, it's none of your business. Okay. But for me, for women who want to have kids and who want to have a career and who want to be independent, it's possible. You can do it, but you need to have the right partner. Okay. Because it's hard. It's hard. I cannot imagine myself doing that with a husband who's not taking care of the kids, who's like complaining, or who says, no, you have to come back, you're traveling too much. No, I wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't be doing. So I found the right partner. Now my kids are happy, and I can do what I like. So that's my life, and I'm happy.
It's pretty clear that it's in as much as one might have certain challenges here there, with working. It's because when one of the things you said, and I realized that when I started out, it was one of the things that was very core in my thoughts, which was, I wanted my kids to be proud of me. I think it was really something that was important, that I didn't want them to grow, because they were small when I kind of started, and I was like, I wouldn't like them to grow up and like, um, grow up to meet a mom that it was really couldn't figure out what life was about, that kind of thing. I was just figuring things out, and so it was really like important, to be able to get all together, just find a way to put yourself together in such a way that, when they're like, oh yeah, you always want to be able to have someone to look up to, and it's been something that's been very important to me from day one, looking up to people and knowing that, they can be an inspiration, and so you also want to be able to inspire. So I wanted to talk about this, being able to inspire, not just from the family perspective, because I also now experienced something very similar, with people around, friends, your colleagues, people you get to meet, and at first they're like, what's the stuff you're doing? And, and just trying to figure it out. Sometimes they become like chief discouragers, that kind of thing, and then after a couple of some time, they become people that are like inspired, by your work. It's interesting, so I want to be able I want Munia and Rose, and to address this issue of, what your society, because or your environment, the expectations, because women, at least a good number of women, are sensitive, and we in as much as sometimes we say that we don't care, we care. We care what people say and what people think, and sometimes maybe you've made a project, and the project is not excellent. Obviously, if you just started, it may not be excellent. And then people have reacted in a way that, or maybe even festivals have rejected your project, which is really bad, but then you have you have all of these not so positive reactions, but you truly love, animation, but so far so good, it's not working. Nobody's liking, and stuff like that. So how should, we deal with that? How do we deal with, particularly negative stereotypes, negative reactions, all of that stuff, that, does not allow us get to the place where we can begin to inspire, or if people can look at us and inspire. So I would like us to be able to address that, Munia, I'd like you to start on that. How can we deal with, all of the sort of negativity, that happens around women. I probably not want to just push in and say, okay, yes, even the harassment, that you get, and all of that, because yes, they exist, in the space, you trying to rise is all that is in your mind. But so other people have other ideas, and these are things that you have to deal with. And it's unfortunate. If only you could just close your mind and just say, no, I'm not listening, I'm not, let me just focus on it. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's the people that you need their help, you understand, are the guys that are not so responsive. So yeah, I would like you to talk to that.
Yes. What I do is, as I said, I listen to the bad comments, but I digest them, and then I try to see if I can learn something out of it. Because sometimes comments come from something that I was showing. I mean, a way that I was addressing. Maybe I didn't address the right way, so maybe I need to improve myself. So I take the bad comments and try to use them and learn out of them. But sometimes those bad comments are bad comments. So no, I mean, no. If you insult me, if you don't like me, because not everybody will like me, but that's fine. I'm not here to be liked by everyone. By everyone, I'm here to do my job. But if it's a comment about how I look, about how I dress, that's not appropriate. So this should stop, because as a women, we are facing that. We can face that. We were talking about money, but I had a weird meeting with a bank here in France, and it was the weirdest meeting I had in my life. I was so humiliated. I had an eye infection at that time, so I had my glasses. My hair was messy, and I was not very dressed up. But I went to the meeting, and I was my eye was red, and I was talking to this new director of the bank, and he was looking at me like that. You want money? Huh. And then he called one of his colleagues, and they were checking my account, and they were laughing, at me. And then you know what he did? He Googled me, and he looked at the pictures, and he said, "Oh, you look so different in reality." And he showed me the pictures. I was shocked, and I said, "What? What?" And that's because he's in position of power, and because there were two men and I was a woman. But then, it hurt, and I said, "There's nothing I can do," because they had the power. I needed the money. I didn't get the money, but I left, and then I shared a complaint to the bank, and finally I got my money. But but it was super painful. So we women, we need to be prepared to face this kind of situation. And that's sad. That's really sad that in 2025 we still have to face this sexism, harassment. And I also have a daughter, and I'm like, okay, I know you will be facing that too. So what I can do is share my story and share how I reacted, and maybe she will get this information and say, okay, maybe I should react this way and this way, and be prepared, because we're gonna face that.
Are we throwing it to me?
Yes, I am. Yes, I was saying that. Yeah, you should share your thoughts on that.
say it's exactly what Munya said. Women are going to be judged two ways, creatively and appearances, or all of that stuff. When I go into a meeting, I just try and come from it's not even me, which sounds weird, but it's the story I'm telling. It's the thing, because it's the authenticity, and you will not, like when you said, not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to invest in you. You have to learn to be sad, cry, get mad, and move on. You will find like-minded people. You will, but you can't just think it's one and done, or there's, you have to dig deep. It's hard. It's really hard, but just keep looking for reasons to move forward. There are people who are there. You have to find them. Yeah. It's a fact, unfortunately.
And finally, because we're gone beyond our time now, it's 1 hour, and so I'd just like us to just, it's been amazing to hear the issue of being authentic, because I know what it means to be judged by appearance. I have been judged many times because I'm not big on appearances, and stuff like that. But then, it's really about being authentic, and showing, and your real self always, coming through, and on all. And so I would like us to finalize with finding your voice. I would like you to speak to the voice. Now what I mean by that is that everybody has a voice. We have a unique voice. We have some sort of message, if it's a message, but then, it's that voice. And so I would like us to just round up on that light, it's sort of advice, to someone's sort of soul, about the voice, and the fact that, because if there's anything that has been silenced, more than anything else, it's the female voice. Most of it, sometimes it's us silencing our voices by ourselves. Like, I know how many times I really have an opinion, but then I don't say anything. And I feel bad at the end of the day that maybe if I've given my opinion, it would have helped, but then I grapple, struggle with it, and then, that kind of thing. It happens over and over and over again, that kind of thing, and all of that. But I try to find my voice in my animation, but then some people don't even have, they have something to say, but no voice anywhere. So I would like us to just address that, in our closing remarks, about women, because there will be young people listening now, and this would probably be that word, that note that would, probably trigger something, about them speaking up, and bringing out that which they have at core, and expressing it to the world that needs it. And so, Roseanne.
In the ACE program, again, it's one of the things I always use is find your voice, use your voice, find your voice, hear your voice, use your voice, hear your voice. And I mean that literally. Talk to people, and it can be the coffee shop people. It doesn't, learn to hear yourself talk, and then use that. And I find in ACE, almost everyone, that's the most challenging part for every candidate, is learning what their voice is. But I can honestly tell you, the tragedy is to not give your voice. We need your voice. And when you pull yourself out of an equation, and it just happened, it's interesting because we have one of our producers in the past never felt she could speak up. And it took her so much to get past that. You have to learn to speak up, and your opinion matters. And then there's, sometimes a director thinks that being a director is being a man voice, and it's not. It's you being an authentic voice of yourself as a director. Find who you are, what you like, find people who want to hear what you have to say, and start to use your voice. Start to hear yourself talk. Because I am telling you, we do a lot of role playing too in the program. And it's interesting because we'll say, all right, now I'm the client and I'm not happy with you. I hate the color blue. Why did you make anything blue? And they have to answer. And they're like, oh, what? And we give them training, and we're like, okay, so this is how we might handle it in my experience. Thank you very much for the comment. Can you tell me about that? And can I get back to you? And when you start to do these kinds of little tricks and processes and hearing it and going through it, it builds your confidence and it builds your voice. All of those things build your voice. So role playing is great. And that you can do with anyone. You can do with your parent and say, Mom, Dad, I'm going to be, you be Netflix. Tell me you don't want my show. And it is that easy. Not that easy. It takes time to build your voice. Trust me. But it is that much of a thing that you can start to go, okay, what am I going to say? How could I say it better? Mom and Dad, do you have feedback? That kind of stuff. So those are some of the things that we do and that I've learned. And it's taken me it takes everybody time to find their voice. So be kind to yourself, but you have to do it. It's important. You is important.
Yeah, so I would say that
Munia, yeah.
So I would say that before finding my voice, I was muted by a lot of people, not only men but sometimes women who were louder than me. But you don't need to be louder to be heard, and that's what I've learned. And first I used my writing skills. I started by posting what I thought, my vision. And then when they gave me the mic, I never gave it back. I kept the mic for me. And now my voice is heard, because I was less confident before, maybe because I'm getting older as well. But when I was younger, I was less confident, so my voice was even super low. And now it's not loud, because that's my voice. I won't change it. I won't pretend to speak like a man. So I will have this same level of voice. But what I say matters. And also I have the confidence to say that I have the experience. I've been in this industry for a long time. I know what I'm talking about. So if you hush me just 5 seconds, but then I will get my voice back. And when it's going to be my time to speak, I won't speak loud, I won't speak long, but my message will be clear, and will be clear and received. Because you don't need to make long sentences and speak for hours. If you have a clear message, go straight to the point. Sometimes men, they will speak loud, blah 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 blah. But you women, you don't need to be loud. Sometimes I do that on purpose. I will speak with this soft voice, with my message super clear, short sentences, a few sentences, not a long, monologue, but then my message is clear. But gain the confidence first, know what you're capable of. You can do things. You have skills. You have the, you are someone important. You are important, and you know what you're talking about. As soon as you know that, your voice will be heard.
Thank you so much, Munia and Roseanne. You have been amazing. We have heard, some of the crucial issues that have to do with entrepreneurship and funding, in animation, a woman's perspective from folks that have, experienced it and have excelled at it, and it's really not just exciting at this point, but absolutely insightful, that we can learn this. So it's really up to us at this point. It's always eventually up to us what we do about it, because the truth is, if you hear and you don't do, it doesn't make a difference anyway, but the true difference is when we take action. When we look at some of the points that have been raised today, some of them are like, some of them you can actually take to the bank, and just things about marketing, things about using social media, networking. You cannot talk about it enough. There's so much of I have taken time to write. I have so many of the pointers, about Munia saying start small, strategize, make something. Roseanne said that, make something, so make, don't just talk about it, that kind of thing. The social media messaging, there was mentorship, it's crucial. Whatever you call it, mentorship is powerful because it just keeps you guided. The idea of not just networking but following up, so all of these issues, each of them are life changers in themselves, even if you just picked one and worked on it. But it's really up to us. So thank you very much. Thank you, Rosanne. Thank you, Monia. You guys have been amazing. I have been inspired, and I'm grateful that to be in this session. Thank you for listening to us, all of the voices that have heard us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Yes.